So hello everyone. Those who don't know me, my name is Dawn Willie. I am your Supra account sales manager. I have my manager here, which is Bill Love. So we're here to be able to address any of your questions and to be able to walk through some of the enhancements that we're going to be offering to each of the organizations as we move forward for your Supra extension. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Bill Love.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. We're going to give you an overview of what we're working on at Supra, some of the great things you can expect coming from us this year. And of course, we want to make this for you. So it's about you guys and being able to give you the information you need to be able to move forward with Supra. And well, we're going to start talking about Envoy, which is our up and coming lockbox system. We'll give you a little bit of overview about Supra in case you're not familiar with us. We'll get started. So let's do it. All right, Don's going to be my Vanna here, moving through the different the slides. So if we're not on sync, we'll get there.
We'll get there. It's before coffee. I'm working through it.
So a little bit about Supra. We are a worldwide organization, and most of our key holders are in North America, US and Canada. We have over 1 million key holders to date, and about 70% of listing showings, 70% of showings that take place on an electronic lockbox are done on a Supra lockbox. So that kind of gives you an idea of nationwide our footprint. Now in California, it's actually even much higher than 70% because more of California uses Supra as their lockbox provider, which we appreciate very much. And one thing that's unique about Supra that other lockbox manufacturers can't necessarily say is that in areas that use our product, we have over about a 94% adoption of usage. And you see that in your area. So most listings that are in the MLS have a Supra lockbox on them today. And that's a unique thing that you don't find in all markets. If you go across the US in other markets where they don't use Supra, you might not find you get as much usage of the electronic lockbox system as you do with Supra. We've got over 530 organizations that use the Supra system across North America. And we're going to talk about managed access as there's been more of a need to allow non-members, non-Supra users access. We've seen more organizations take on our managed access products. Justice will, as I mentioned earlier, will cover our showing service. So we did acquire a showing service a few years ago, and we've integrated that now with Supra to become Supra Showing Management. We want to make sure to point out one thing as we go forward. Supra is, we guard your data. There's been a lot of question about, okay, what's happening with our data, given that some providers out there make money on the data. They make money on selling leads, on referral fees. That is not our business model. It's not how we do it. We are a great hardware and software provider, and so we provide you those services back. But your data is your data. We protect it. We only provide it back to you for the uses of the Supra system. So just make that very clear. All right. I'm going to jump into our new Envoy lockbox. So our new Envoy lockbox, we're very excited to get this out on the market. We don't have one to pass around physically since we're on the Zoom call here together, but we'll make those available for you to be able to look at here in the future. But this gives you a good example. This is what this new Envoy looks like. We're going to have 2 shackle options. We'll have the regular shackle that you're used to seeing on our lockboxes, and a new shackle that's a curved design. And this is really designed to go on door handles. So as these door handles have become more commonplace, lockboxes tend to jet out at an angle with a standard shackle. And so we've developed this curved shackle to help it lay flat on the door, better aesthetics, doesn't bang up the door, makes it easier to get in and out of the lockbox. And we've also redesigned the key container. So the key container, we're calling it extreme jam resistant. Can't really say jam proof because agents will try to find a way to jam up the lockbox. But this new lockbox makes it about impossible to jam up. Very, very difficult. Matter of fact, we haven't been able to do it yet in our testing. It'll hold up to 15 keys, up to a couple of gate cards for those condo areas or gated communities that might need a card key to get inside of. We'll hold it inside of this key container. We're making it even easier to access a lockbox. So it's pretty easy today. You're familiar with the double tap, we'll call it, method of opening the lockbox. You press once, it activates the lockbox. You put in your PIN code, press again to get the key container out. Well, with the new Envoy product, it's got a beaconing capability that recognizes when you are at the door. And so it'll know you're there. And all you do if you're walking up to a lockbox is just simply select the lockbox and you're in. Quick, easy access. And to go a step further, if you're using the Supra Showing capability, which again, we're working with CRMLS to bring that to you over the course of 2025, then the system will know you're supposed to be there for that appointment, and you'll literally be able to walk right up to the lockbox. It'll know you're there. It'll know you're supposed to be there, and you can get the key out of the key container very easily. So that'll be, I think, a nice benefit for members going forward, make it even easier to get in and show your clients the property. We also have a new feature called Find My Lockbox. And this has multiple facets to it. So think about a situation where you walk up to the listing, you can't find the lockbox. You've got your client, you're trying to get in, the lockbox isn't in sight. So you can go right into your Supra app and it'll start beaconing to the lockbox to try to find where the lockbox is at. So the listing agent stuck it on a spigot on the side of the house behind a bush, and our app will help guide you to that lockbox so you can find it easily. Also imagine like a condo environment where you might have 10 or 15 lockboxes on a gate somewhere, and you're not sure which lockbox is the one for you to get into with your client. This will also help in that situation to identify the lockbox and make it easier access to find that lockbox and get in. And then thirdly, imagine a scenario where I know I've got 5 lockboxes, but I can only find 3 of them. I don't know where the other 2 are. And so with future technology, think of like kind of the iPhone AirTags, Apple AirTags, where if you've got a lockbox, maybe it's in a broker closet somewhere, and you had no idea it was in there. As long as an e-key has come near it, then you'll be able to know where that lockbox is at. So that's some future technology that's coming as well. All right, we've also looked at all the ways that criminals have tried to break into our lockbox. Typically, what we've found in the past is that where someone's been successful breaking into a lockbox, it involves clipping the shackle with bolt cutters, taking it somewhere where we've got more advanced tools, and they have time and tools to be able to break in to the lockbox. So this from a security standpoint, you can know that this is high-level security. Matter of fact, it's the only lockbox, electronic lockbox, that'll be on the market that's actually UL certified. That's Underwriters Laboratories for you that haven't heard of UL, but that's a designation from a security standpoint and theft standpoint that is very difficult to get. We've submitted our lockbox and it's passed those tests. You're very familiar with our current lockboxes, that the life of those boxes, they just keep on going. You can go in today and look at your lockboxes you've had for 10 or more years, and you'll still see that battery life on most of those is going to be greater than 50%. I think the average battery for your lockboxes we looked at is closer to 65, 70%, even though you've had those boxes for many, many years. So lockbox, you don't have to replace batteries because they'll last the lifetime of the lockbox, and we guarantee that. So if a battery ever gets low, you just simply bring the box in, and staff will swap that box out for you with a new battery in it with greater battery life. So you don't have to worry about batteries in our lockboxes. They last the lifetime of the box, and we guarantee it. Another great feature is coming up is going to be our remote programming capability. So today, staff can program a box remotely to be able to change, maybe showing hours on the box or shackle code in some situations that you might want to do that. They can do that remotely for you. But in today's Supra app platform, you can't do that as an agent. Well, going forward with Supra One and the Envoy box, you will be able to remotely program your boxes. And we will do away with the CBS code. If you're familiar with the call before showing code, today that gives you kind of another level of access capability to the lockbox, to where you can, if you want to make sure someone contacts you to get access into the lockbox, we will be able to provide. Today we have CBS code, but CBS code doesn't change. So you give that to a super key holder, and they technically could go back. Now the system will tell you if they went back. But with our new way of doing this, it's going to be access by appointment only, and it'll actually set a time restriction around the access. So you can say, okay, you can have access to my lockbox on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m., and it'll give that person access to that lockbox at that time, and no one else will be able to get access unless they've called you and they set that time and an appointment with you to get into the lockbox. And of course, going forward, no cell service required as it is today. You just have to make sure your app's updated, as you know, before you go out and start showing, but you won't have to worry about cell coverage at the lockbox. But we've made this process much, much easier to do a lockbox exchange. And so we can actually remote install. And so rather than having to go round up all the lockboxes, bring them into a big facility where we do an exchange at the facility, we can still do it that way. We can still make that process available. But now we can actually drop ship directly to brokers or even agents if you want to conduct an exchange via mail. We can do it that way. So think of that, Amazon method of being able to order something, you get it, and so you get your 10 lock boxes, and you can take those lock boxes out and then put your other lock boxes in, packing labels in the box, and just package it back up, and delivery courier will come pick it up. So we can make that process easy and seamless for you going forward.
I wanted to also mention there's about 3 million BTLE lockboxes that are currently in circulation. So while Envoy is available, and we have provided proposals to both organizations encompassing the ability to adopt Envoy, there's going to be BTLE within the forward ongoing process for quite some time. So it is, and BTLEs and Envoys are both forward and backward compatible with the Supra One and Envoy solution that we're talking about. So I just want to point that out as well. Managed access. So currently Downey has adopted the managed access solution. Rancho Southeast has not. It's individual per organization. You do have those choices that make it succinct and individualized to each organization. And if you think of the current litigation going on, or the atmosphere, I should say, between NAR and the DOJ, they have revisited the opportunity on whether or not there should be a requirement surrounding allowing non-Realtor members into a listing. So regardless of what decision is made, we have two solutions that will meet your requirements and fulfill the requirement for the DOJ outcome should it be adopted. So one of the things that makes our solution different with managed access is there are no codes. We don't use any code. You'll notice on the outside of our exterior of our boxes, there is no keypad. Everything is electronically tokenized, which was sent directly to the user, and the recipient is sending it to them. So it's a secondary security measure, and they have to have a device that is not a burner phone. They actually have to use a vetted carrier in order to be able to use the non-managed access solution. Accountability allows for an audit for all of the access that's provided, whether it be from non-member agent or single access, which I'll get into as well. And the organization can look at those holistically. And then also as a member, I can see who's been given access as well. And then if you are looking as an organization for an opportunity to monetize, you do have that capability with non-member agent, because you can it's a subscription-based solution, and you have that ability to consider an admin fee that you would like in order to elevate non-dues revenue. The idea behind these solutions is that it's to drive membership, not to negate membership. So you can say to a non-member person, I have a member solution for you, and it's going to be X dollars per month with an e-key from Supra. Or you can be a non-member because you're not going to be a realtor member, and it's going to be X amount of dollars because you've decided not to become a member. And membership has these resources. So the idea here is that if someone's gaining access directly to the listing, it's being issued either pre-vetted by the association and the listing agent, or just the listing agent, which I'll show you real quick. So non-member agent is a product that the association has taken on the opportunity to do the pre-vetting. So you're assigning a slimmed down version of the e-key application. And what you're doing is you're doing some pre-vetting, right? I'm double checking that you have a license to be a real estate professional. I'm going to grab a copy of your driver's license. I'm going to have you sign that you have, you agree to the terms and conditions. And then once I have that non-member agent key, I can go out and reach out to the listing agent and ask for access on the third Thursday at 2 p.m. to be able to show my client the listing at 123 Main Street. Again, it satisfies any requirement that the NAR and DOJ would collectively have. And it's a subscription-based product coming directly from the association. Single access is a little different. Single access is allowing the listing agent to make the determination that this person is critical to the overall success of the actual listing. So this could be somebody, depending upon the rules and regulations of the organization. It could be a plumber because I have an out of area seller who needs to have the main floor bathroom fixed for the eventual sale. And so I'm going to give, as a listing agent, the ability for the plumber, because I'm across town and not able to get there, but the ability for them to get in there and repair that leaky toilet so that we keep everything status quo and moving forward to the eventual sale. It is completely secure. There are no codes. So again, it kind of trumps that contractor lockbox, which everyone knows. I've been in the industry for 15 years, and my codes on my contractor lockboxes is cat 123. Don's listings, they always have cat 123. This is a tokenized non-shareable code. So they actually can enter into the lockbox directly from a slimmed down version of their e-key app. And again, all of these are tracked. One requires that the association is going to do the pre-vetting, the non-member agent, and the other is that the listing agent has the capability of allowing access based on the success of the showing and the listing itself. At no time are they, as anyone, allowed to give a buyer the opportunity to see a listing without representation there. So either I have to be there as the listing agent, or the listing agent representing the buyer has to be there in order to be able to gain access as well. And again, they also have to have a pre-vetted carrier, no burner phones.
Yeah, so just to really emphasize that one. So because it happens in some cases where maybe it's usually not a member agent, it's usually an out-of-area agent that may give access to a buyer to get into the property. On our system, that's virtually impossible unless the agent gave their phone to the client. With other systems where you get a code, it's much easier to give a code to somebody to get in than it is to hand your phone over to somebody. So that's a real big distinction between the way our ability is to give access to someone who needs access that doesn't have the super key versus other systems out there. So really want to drive that point home.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can we go back one screen?
Sure.
Okay. No decisions have been made. I'm just making a scenario up. Okay.
Sure.
If Downey, let's say, is in Central Lock and Rancho is in Supra, Downey members can call Rancho and get a non-member subscription to the Supra access.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just my question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That could be
just a made-up scenario. Just
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes. So the answer is yes to that question. Will it be as convenient as the way access works today? It would make it very much. It makes it much more challenging when you start to have multiple lockbox systems.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And also, as I indicated, it could be that Rancho hasn't adopted the ability to do non-member access, and therefore there would be no resource.
Right.
Well, true.
And we need to set it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Wendy, I didn't mean to use you.
It's okay.
It's
So
just a scenario, just an
yeah,
example.
it's by organization. It's an offering that we have. We've had this offering now for a while. Not every organization has adopted it. So I want to make sure that you know that while it is something that the organization can select, it doesn't mean that they have.
Yes.
Good question, Jeanette. Thanks for asking.
So I also wanted to go into real quick a couple of features that you might not know about that kind of give you a breadth of the scope of collaboration that we have within the Supra system, that along with all of CRMLS orgs. So today, when you go in directly into your eKey app, the very first yellow bar that says at the top whether your organization is Rancho Southeast Realtors or Downey, if you click on that yellow bar, it's going to give you a list at a glance of all of the cooperating organizations that you currently, as a member, have access to in order to be able to show listings. So if your client says, well, can you show me a listing in Reseda, you have the capability of clicking on that and going, yes, I can. So you have the ability of seeing all of those connections or co-ops that you have available to you as a member. The other thing is we also have My Keys. My Keys solves the regional or cross-state challenges. If you're a snowbird, maybe you spend half your year in California and you spend half your year in Minnesota, and you like having summer year-round, you can easily go ahead and traverse your Supra app so that you have both sets of keys and you can navigate entering into lockboxes in both areas, eliminating having to have the challenge of trying to figure out which key to use. And then tertiary to that is the auto cooperation, right? So what we do is all of CRMLS is currently co-opted together, making it super easy for you and your members to be able to gain access as well as to boost listing exposure. It also maintains the security of the system because there's a reason why everyone joins, is to have that interconnectivity and being able to cross-pollinate in other areas, right? So if I was to take a listing in Ventura, I have that capability whether or not I was also looking to be located in the Orange County area. So I can traverse the entire CRMLS org as well. And this results in more showings and or more greater value to be able to get your listing sold faster.
All right, I'm here.
Awesome. Justice Martin.
Well, I get the pleasure of walking you through Supra One. And all of you are probably familiar with our Supra products. You have the eKey application. If you're an agent or a broker, you may be familiar with Supra Web. That's the web portal where you go to manage your lockboxes and things like that. You may be less familiar with Supra Net, unless your organization staff. The Supra Net application is what your association staff use to manage the platform. And we're really excited. Supra One will replace all of that. So the Supra One application is a direct replacement for SupraNet, for Supra Web, and the eKey application. It's also the central portal where we'll launch all of our new products and features. So with one Supra application, you'll have access to all of your Supra products and features. And so we're really excited. And Don, I think if you go to the next slide for me. Yeah. And so again, this is a direct replacement for the tools and services that you use to work in your Supra products today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start to share my screen. So this is the replacement for Supra Net. And as an association staff person, I can manage my platform here. I can see all of my agents. I can filter on any columns. One of the powerful things about Supra One is anything that I'm looking at is a report. I don't have to go to a different place to find reports. So for example, if I wanted to run a report to see all of my active key holders, I can filter for all of my subscribed users, and then I can click export and it will instantly export a CSV file of what I'm looking at. So again, everything I'm looking at can become a report very quickly. When I click on an agent's record, I get a lot more detail than I do today. So I can see all of the agent's contact information. I can see their Supra subscription status, any of their key details. Bill mentioned earlier, we acquired a showing management service, and I'm going to show some of that in a little bit, but we also have a live concierge service. It's an 800 number that agents can subscribe to that allows them to put it on their listings, that enables other agents to call and request a showing, and then the service can even reach out to sellers, for example, to help get those showings confirmed. And that is an option for agents or brokers to subscribe to. I can see all of their lockboxes, add lockboxes. If I need to add multiple lockboxes all at one time, it's not a problem. I can do it very easily. But you'll also notice that we're now seeing MLS data inside of Supra One. So in SupraNet, there's really no MLS data that gets pulled in. And now I have visibility into lockbox assignments. I have visibility into that agent's listings. And I even have the access to see their showings. So a lot of new things that I can see inside of Supra One that I couldn't see in SupraNet before. One of the killer new features is our assume function. We know that the agents often like to call the association for help before they will call our technical support team. And we've created this assume function that allows an association staff person to assume the identity of one of the agents and help them try and troubleshoot a problem. Now, to be clear, this doesn't allow screen sharing. Like, for example, if I'm an agent at the door, the association isn't going to be able to see my key screen, but it does allow them to log into my web portal and see if they can help solve a problem that way. So a really nice feature. And then we also have integrated chat now. So association staff and members can chat directly through the key application, which is a really nice new feature as well. Here's my lockbox screen. Again, everything that I'm looking at can become a report. So if I wanted to run a specific report, I can. Or let's say that an agent finds a lockbox and they need to know who the lockbox belongs to so they can return it. I can now search for lockboxes, and you'll notice as I type, it automatically filters a list. It's a much faster application. The purpose behind the revamp to our platform is to help associations save time and money and to reduce the amount of time that members need to be in front of you at the counter. We know that you like to have members in your office, but we also know a great experience is when they're in, they get what they need done quickly and they can leave. And so we're trying to help expedite that time for you as well. When I'm looking at a specific key, I can see, a specific lockbox. I can see all of that lockbox information, all of the access information, quick ability to download all of the access report. I can, do it for a specific period of time if I want, or even search the activity for a specific event. Another nice change to our platform is shackle codes will no longer exist. And so in today's platform, when I'm a buyer's agent and I'm out, I've got Bill as a listing agent, and he's got the listing, and I'm a buyer, and I'm doing my final inspection with my buyer, and I tell Bill, hey, I know it's 45 minutes out to this property from your office. If you give me your shackle code, I'll take off the box and bring it back to your office. It's really nice, but what happens then is that box gets assigned to my inventory, and I could start getting notifications on that box if I don't remove that box from my inventory. That's not a problem anymore. With shackle permissions, Bill could assign me the ability to open the shackle on the box and then take it away as soon as I release the shackle. And it never adds that box into my ability. So it really is a much better, smoother, more efficient way of handling shackle access. And then finally, a new feature in SuperNet is the ability to see some general brokerage information. So here I can see all of the brokerages within my association. I can see the number of agents they have, whether or not those brokers are subscribed to the live concierge service, the number of lockbox each broker has. And I even have the ability to assume the broker's Supra One account, which is kind of like the Supra web portal, and help run reports or anything like that for that specific broker if I needed to do that. Okay, so this is the association's administrative portal. Let's take a look at the Supra web replacement. And so this is the full replacement as an agent for your Supra web. If you view Supra Web today, you know it's fairly limited. This is a complete reimagination and recreation of what Supra Web should be. And so this is Supra One for agents. And in Supra One, I can see all of my listings. I can see any showings that I've got coming up, whether I'm the buyer's agent or the listing agent. I can see any tasks that I owe to the system. For example, somebody has requested a showing on my listing, and I can accept, deny, or suggest another time. We have Teams capability in our product as well. So as a broker, if I've got lots of teams, I may want to subscribe to team configuration and team management. And if I've got that, I can see all of my team members and all of my team members' listings, and then all of my contacts. I'd like to reemphasize one of the things that Bill said earlier about your data is your data. When you put your client's information into our platform, it's only for your use. If you were to unsubscribe from our service and go away, we purge that information from our data. We don't sell leads. We don't sell advertisements. We don't do lead, any kind of anything with customer information. All of that stays inside the platform just for the use of that agent. Okay, so here I can also see all of my lockboxes as an agent. So this is one of those Supra web functions that I would do today, and we've made it a lot easier. I can see all of my activities, my key activities. I can see all of my showings. Some of the things that I'd like to go through very quickly that are different than in Supra Web is the ability to create showings, or to configure showings. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to my listing here on Main Street. This is my listing dashboard. I can see all of my property information that came over from the MLS. I can see access instructions here, all of the access activity. So if I needed to run a report, we have an offer registration platform, which is a really cool communication tool. Any feedback that's been left on the property, or if I needed to manage my feedback settings, we have a fully customizable feedback tool. And then the ability to message agents. I can't spam the MLS, but if I needed to send a message to all the agents who've shown the property that there's a $100,000 price reduction, I can do that very easily here in the platform now. But I'm going to go ahead and configure showings. So this is my my showing settings here, and I can see minimum showing notice. We can do overnight notice. A lot of times agents will put 24-hour notice to show in the MLS. And what they really mean most of the time is you can't book a showing and show the property on the same day. It's got to have one sleep in between so that the seller can prepare appropriately. So we have that tool. We can set any showing duration we want. We can even do overlapping showings. A lot of times agents will preview properties, and when they preview a property, they're in and out in 2 minutes. So I don't want to take a whole 1 hour window for an agent who's going to be in and out in 2 minutes. So we're going to allow multiple agents to book inside the same window, and I can even tell the system how many agents should be able to book a showing inside the same window. If I have a particular seller who wants to make sure the house is perfect after each showing event, I can actually do the opposite and create a buffer between showing events that gives that seller the opportunity to go back in and make sure the home is perfect. So a lot of flexibility here in terms of how we're granting access to the property. Who should approve showings? Listing agent can always approve showings. We have an auto confirm tool if the property is vacant and you just want agents to go and show. But we can also start to involve the seller now. And we have an appointment only lockbox feature with the new platform. So I don't know if you've ever come across a seller who's a little bit concerned about having a lockbox on their home and agents just having keys that can open lockboxes. And one of the ways that you might deal with that today is using the CBS code. In the new platform, I could literally tell my seller, Mrs. or Mr. Seller, the only way an agent's key will work on this lockbox is if you personally give them permission, and their key will only work on the lockbox for the duration of time that you give them access. So it's a really powerful tool to be able to go in with my in my listing presentation and tell my seller, hey, this box is your tool, and we can use it together to make sure that only the people who should be accessing your home are accessing your home. This is where I can assign my lockbox to my listing. In the Supra Web platform today, we do it backwards. You assign a listing to a lockbox, and that doesn't make sense for a lot of agents because that's not what they're actually physically doing. And so we've fixed that. And now we are back to assigning lockboxes to listings. And what's nice is it will only let me choose lockboxes that are in my inventory that I'm eligible to assign the lockbox to. I can add a picture of the lockbox location, and I can actually mark that picture up right here in the platform. Here are all of my contacts associated with this listing. We can do multiple confirmations. So if it's a probate listing, or if it's my listing or my sellers are a couple going through a contentious divorce, and both of them need to approve a showing before anybody can go into the property, we can handle that. And then I do like to quickly show in a contact record here all of the contact information, all of the notifications. We have robust permissions. So as a listing agent, I can really control what the seller or any contact can do on this listing. If this is a seller, I might want to give them full permissions. I want them to be able to confirm, deny, cancel, or suggest other times for showings. But if it's a tenant occupied property, and I don't want the tenant to be able to deny showings because I'm just concerned that they're going to click deny on all of the showing requests, I can take that away and just give them the ability to confirm. Or maybe I just want them to get a notification, and I can now take their confirmability away. Now they're just going to get notifications that showings are happening. So a lot of control over allowing access to the property. And the last thing I'll point out is we have our own 5-digit short code. Every single text message that comes from the Supra One platform comes from the number 78340. That means I can save that number in my phone. I can give it to my clients, and they'll know that it's safe to click on links. I don't know if you've ever received a text message from a random phone number, but you're never sure if it's safe to click on a link or if it's a scam. That's not a problem with the Supra One platform. I give that number to my clients, tell them to save it in their phone as showing notifications, and every single time they get a notification, they'll know it's safe to click on the link to act. But the other big thing is, if you've ever had to look for notifications through another service, they're probably using 10-digit phone numbers, and they're probably using 60, 70, 80, hundreds of different numbers to send these notifications from. So if I needed to find a notification, I've got to hunt through my messages app. With our product, because we have one number that we send from, you just go to your showing notifications or your Supra One conversation, and every notification is there. Really easy to find. Here's where we set our weekly restrictions. So anything in red, and it's really fun because I can just click and drag here. But if my client has got school-age children, showings in the morning are probably going to be really difficult. So I can block those off. I can make it really easy, auto-confirm any showing request while my client's children are at school and my client is at work. And then I can also say, hey, for those times where somebody might be home, we need somebody to approve that showing request. So anything in red, no showings are allowed. Anything in white, somebody's got to approve it. Anything in green, if an agent makes the request, it's automatically going to be approved. We also can do special days. Sometimes family likes to show up from out of town, and so we can do some special days. And if there's an emergency at the property, we always have the ability to turn off showings immediately with one click. So you can see there's a lot of new features in this Supra One platform for agents. The other thing that I'll show is it's really easy to book showings in the Supra One platform, whether you're in your key or in the desktop site. I can search for listings, and I can request a showing or even create tours. So we've got a really nice tour feature. I can add multiple properties to the tour here. And it has some nice features like I can optimize for the best driving route. I can manually reorder the showings. So it's a really nice tool. And then I can request all of the showings all at one time instead of having to send individual requests for showings. So a nice feature. The last thing that I'll show is the new eKey application. So this is the replacement for the eKey application. You'll notice that listings and my listing information and my showing information play a much more prominent role in this key application. So I have a lot more visibility into my business in the new eKey application. Anything I need to do to manage my listings that I could do on the Supra Web platform, I can do in the eKey application. I can see all of my showings that are coming up here. I can respond to showing requests on my listings. And if I just needed to open a lockbox, I can go to my key here. It'll look for the lockboxes that are around me. If I've got lockboxes that are assigned to listings or the other agent has listings assigned to lockboxes, I can click and quickly get all of that basic listing information. So a lot of control and ability here in the Supra One platform. Bill mentioned earlier that on the Envoy lockbox, the double tap is no longer necessary. And what's really cool is if I set my lockbox to an appointment-only lockbox and an agent has an appointment and they walk up to that box, the box will blink at them. So I don't know if you've ever been in like a condominium complex and there's a lockbox wall or a closet, or sometimes there's a gate that's got all the boxes on it and you're not sure which box you should be opening. Now, when I have the appointment, I walk up, the box's light is going to blink at me, letting me know that's the right box. As the agent with my phone in my purse or in my pocket, I walk up to the box and I release the key container. It's a much more streamlined experience. If you've ever used your phone to get into a Hilton hotel room using the Hilton app, that's actually Supra's technology in those locks. And so it'll be a very similar experience to what you get when you go to a Hilton property. So some really nice things with the eKey application.
Great. So great overview of what's coming with Supra One with our scheduling platform. I like to take the opportunity just to reemphasize, if your primary objective is, I just want the easiest way to get access into a lockbox, into a house for my client to show the property, With Supra, nothing changes dramatically in that way. I mean, you have all the great tools you've always had to be able to get easy access into the house. We've got one region solution that goes across really all of California. So if you need to take a client out to the deserts, you can get into a lockbox in the deserts. If you want to take a client over to Ventura, you can get into lockboxes in Ventura. If you want to go up to the Bay Area and get access into a Bay Area account listing, you have that capability to do that with Supra. So that really want to emphasize that point. Are there any other questions or anything we can answer for you?
Bill, why can you say that? Because they're already on Supra?
Yeah, Supra. Okay. And with CRMLS's data share, you have access with your key. I don't know if you knew that or not. So the data share that CRMLS is set up with the MLSs up in the Bay Area give you access into the greater San Francisco area. So that's not counting Sacramento, like the Sonoma area up in there. You can still get access with your Supra key. You just have to call in advance to get access into those areas. But for the greater San Francisco area, your keys work up there today.
Well, and it's because they're in Supra, but it's also because of the data shares. It's the MLS is working together and saying, hey, the members of these organizations should have access to the lockboxes. And so we just flip the switch.
Without mentioning names, have you already had associations in CRMLS sign with you guys for the new?
Yes, I have a couple that have already done so, but they have chosen not to share at the moment.
Of course, sure. I don't want to know. But also, have you received notification that others are leaving?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us and going over the product. I like the new Supra One. It's really nice.